Right. Street Farm is one of the books that doesn't really stick in your memory, aside from the fact that you had to do a review about it in your English class back in grade 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking at the reviews and criticizing them, and then I'm going to say what they should have. So why don't we start with this one, made by Teens Read 2. Ty Johnson knows how to survive in the real world, to take care of problems on the spot. He has everything in control and knows the way to run things. He's intelligent, patient, and skillful, everything he needs when he inherited his father's business. Everything is running smoothly for Ty, and that's the way he wants it. But then a series of struggles ruins the way Ty does things, as predicted because it's a fucking book about drugs on the streets. That being said, this review has something that bothers me. For example, Street Farm is a true coming-of-age story that causes the reader to be at the edge of their seat, quickly turning pages and in the end wanting more. A quick, fast-paced read that is necessary for all teens to read. Which wasn't really me. The book was full of predictable events. I wasn't really on the edge of my seat. I wasn't really quickly turning pages. I was just sitting there being like, okay, this stuff is happening as predicted. But the book is not bad. It's not good. But if I was stuck in a white void surrounded by nothingness and only this book right below me, I would probably explore the white void, and that is not good. If your book is that bad enough for your reader to be like, I don't want to read this anymore, I want to do something else, then it's not a good book. You have to have something to keep them reading. Before I keep on going on about the book, I gotta keep on going on about the reviews. So why don't we get back to those? Greatest book ever. Bunch of exclamation marks. This has got to be a good review. This was the best book I have read so far. As I started reading it, Ty's life was getting real interesting. And the ending, man. If you're reading this, I'm not going to tell you, so just pick it up and read it. I know you're going to love it as much. Wait. Okay, never mind. This person takes life advice from Tumblr. I'm going to skip this. Alright, let's start reading this one called, Goot, but not great. This is going to be a great review. Grammatical errors aside, let's just start reading this, see what he has to say. I'm only going to give a Street Farm 3-star rating because I didn't hate this book. I actually genuinely liked most of the book, but what I didn't like was the ultimate and obvious meaning behind it. Recently, I reviewed a book called Go Ask Alice, which falls into the same theme as this book. Both are about the dangers of drugs, and ultimately that is what holds this back for me. I love the writing, and I really enjoyed the characters too. However, I thought the book was way too predictable, and the themes are far too obvious. The book sends a clear message that getting involved with selling drugs is bad, but if you get lucky and learn from your mistakes, you can change. But I felt this book was an oversimplification of the subject. Everything about it was basically a stereotype of the hood. I don't profess to know what everything is like in the full-blown reality of what they tried to portray here, but I can say that all seemed a bit too fantasized, and I like the impression someone would have of the ghetto life by watching TV. One grammatical error aside, this is a pretty solid review, and it actually says what's wrong with it. Great book for all ages. Sure. I think this book is a sad book, but very interesting and entertaining. Okay, let's just start making lists of elements as to how to make a good review so I don't have to read any more of these. Alright, so what makes a good review? Okay, so one of the first elements to a good review is details. You have to describe why the book you're reviewing is good or bad. If you just say it's good without anything to back that up, you won't be motivating anybody to buy the book, and you've got to make sure you're not spoiling anything for a reader. Another crucial element to a review is delivery. Whether or not you're going to do a review vocally or by paper, you got to make sure your review has proper grammar and syntax. Also, if you have poor and repetitive wording, your review won't really be taken seriously. You could add some humor, but that's just optional. Alright, so now I'm going to be doing a review of the book. Alison Van Deep in Street Farm is not really a book that I enjoyed. It's something that I already knew was going to happen. I mean, the way it was delivered was great. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but it's just the predictability is something that ruined the book for me. I mean, seriously, just look at the back of the book. There's nothing else more obvious than this. There's gonna be drugs, there's gonna be violence, and there's gonna be death. And if your main protagonist is a whole lot less more interesting than a character in a video game, then you know you're doing something wrong. Just look at this.
I used to be undercover. I did time. I had to deal drugs. I even had to kill. And I was so good at it that it got me a promotion.
So, if I had to choose between a guy named Bandit or a guy named Tyrone Johnson who was in school, I would rather choose Bandit because his story seems far more interesting and I can't relate to it because he's an undercover cop. You already know what he is, but you never heard the full story. You have no idea what it's like, and you just want to figure that out. You want to see it for yourself. So that's why he's more interesting than Tyrone Johnson. Relatability is a bit of a problem with most stories, and that's why they're so predictable. Street Farm suffers from this because it's a struggle to be relatable, and I could not enjoy it because everything was so obvious that I did not even get the chance to enjoy it. If they got rid of the school part, I could have enjoyed it because I don't know what it's like to be a drug dealer. The drug dealing part was fascinating to me, and I wanted to know more, but it was just blocked off by the fact that Tyrone wanted to deal with something in school. Just because your book or movie is relatable doesn't mean it's good. Most books are trying to go for this, and that's something I don't really enjoy. I enjoy something that I don't even know about. I enjoy learning about new things I never even heard of. I enjoy seeing things I never will see because that's something that fascinates me. Story aside, the way it's wrote, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. There was no errors, no syntax errors. There was nothing wrong with it. It was all great. In conclusion, the book was fine. It was not good, not bad. Sort of enjoyed it, but it was not something I would recommend. Alright, now that's the review done, and I'll see you all next time when I start reviewing the stories of every character on Rainbow Six Siege.